Good day to all of us. We are the Group 3 and we are assigned to discuss all about the linguistic anthropology. So in this video, we will be able to know or identify what is linguistic anthropology, ethnography, speech community, communicative situation, as well as the communicative event and communicative acts, and lastly, the ethnography of communication. So, what is linguistic anthropology? The term linguistic anthropology is used to the North American approach to linguistics, which according to Himes 1964, falls outside the active concern of linguistics. It can be defined as the study of language within the context of anthropology. Also, it is the study of language through human genetics and human development. Moreover, linguistic anthropology is a branch of anthropology that studies humans through languages that they use. According to Durante 2001, linguistic anthropology has something to do with the roles played by language and other semiotic resources in the constitution of society and its cultural representation. So linguistic anthropologists are concerned with ethnographic fieldwork, and we will soon see to it in this unit or in this topic that we are discussing. There is a very close relationship between the subject and ethnography. So, anthropological linguist focuses more on the interplay of language and culture. It is traditionally divided into three branches. These are the descriptive linguistics, historical linguistics, and the social linguistics. So first, what is descriptive linguistics? This is the systematic study of the language, of the way language is constructed and used, while historical linguistics is the study of the origin of language in general and of the evolution of the languages people speak today. And lastly, social linguistics is the study of the relationship between language and society.
So good morning. Today we will tackle about ethnography. What is ethnography? Any ideas or thoughts about this? Anyone? So what is ethnography? The term ethnography derives from the word ethnos means nations or people, and graphein means writing. So, ethnography is known as the branch of anthropology, the studies of people in their natural settings, and gives a descriptive account of social life and culture in a defined social Ethnography system. Is a branch of anthropology and study the individual cultures. It explores cultural phenomena from the point of view of the subject of the study, while ethnographers are those who practice ethnography and also study the subcultures such as drug cultures, such hooligans, workers, and other institutions like police and etc.
Speech community, Himes 1972-54, defines a speech community as a community sharing rules for the conduct and interpretation at least one linguistic of speech, interpretation of variety. A speech community is a group of people who share rules for conducting and interpreting at least one variety of a language or dialect. It can be applied to a neighborhood, a city, a region, or a nation. The earliest speech community we belong to is the one we share with our primary caregivers, usually our parents, and the basis for some of the most intimate and long-term relationship we form across our lives. What is a speech community? A speech community refers to a group of speakers, whether located in one area or scattered. who recognize the same language or dialect of a language as a standard. Speech communities are groups that share values and attitudes about language use, varieties, and practices. Speech community does not simply focus on groups that speak the same language. It also assumes that a mutuality intelligible symbolic and ideological communicative system must be at play among those who share knowledge and practices about how one is meaningful across social contexts. Definition of speech community tend to involve varying degrees of emphasis on the following. Shared community membership expresses both personal identity and social identity. Communities are social groups defined by some claimed commonality of their members, such as national origin, race, ethnicity, religion, gender, or shared values. Besides emphasizing common characteristics, community memberships implies identification with a set of shared judgments, moral standards, and cultural orientations. Some believe that a speech community must be a real community. Example, a group of people living together in the same geographical location. Village, town, city, country, and etc. Second is shared linguistic communication. It refers to people developing understanding amongst themselves based on language. Example, spoken, text, to help them communicate more effectively. The key to understand language is to first notice and be mindful of your language. Developing a shared language is an ongoing process that requires intention and time, which results in better understanding.
Linguistic communication entails is also a variable concept. Some would argue that a shared first language, even dialect, is necessary, while for the others, the ability to communicate and interact, even across language barriers, is sufficient. A person can, and almost always does, belong to more than one speech community. Example, a Nigerian youth belongs to the following speech communities: his mother tongue community, the internet community, the English language speakers community, etc. The underlying concern in both of these is that members of the same speech community should share linguistic norms, so that they share understanding, values, and attitudes about language varieties present in their community. The major characteristic of a speech community, according to Gompers, is the frequency and the social interaction among the members. It is therefore the case that members of a given speech community communicate more within the group than with other speech communities. Speakers of the same speech community also have a set of shared norms, which could be observed in their linguistic behavior.
Communicative situation is any situation predisposed towards communication. Situation here should not be necessarily equated with location, even though location is a part of communication. Situation changes, and it is possible for the same location to play host to more than one situation. This means that there should be a communication in any unexpected situation, because in our lives there are unexpected situations that may happen in any unexpected locations. So, even though how complicated the situation is, we must know how to adjust our way of communicating with each other so that we can resolve any problems.
So, good day everyone. So, my name is Charmaine Barbosa. So, this is the assigned topic that's given to me. all about communicative act. So, who among you here have the idea of a communicative act? No one. So, I give you some example. I give you some definition rather. A communicative act is also called a speech act. This could easily be illustrated as a single interactive function, such as a request, a command, a statement, and so forth. Later, I give you some example of those functions. Also, a communicative act uses verbal signals to achieve a purpose. When you see verbal signals, it's like consists of words and linguistic units of sounds and speech organs. It's the verbal signals. And also, communicative act are not monodimensional. Monodimensional is not existing in, or it's not only one dimension, that is monodimensional. Here, we are dealing with the action that communication produces. For instance, if someone makes any of these statements like this: A, I would love an orange. Or B, do you have an orange? Or C, can I please have an orange? If they would love, all accomplish the same act of communication, but in three different ways. So I give you some example of request. The song someone asked a band to play. That example of request. And a command is a dog owner telling their dog to sit. That example of command. And lastly is a statement. A monthly report sent to a debtor or bank depositor.
Good day, everyone. My assigned topic was all about communicative event. So, what is communicative event? Who can define or explain what is communicative event? Anyone from the class or any volunteer? Okay, none. So, if we say communicative events are named by conventional meanings such as wedding, symposium, lectures, and etc. Okay, conventional meanings. Conventional meanings which based on or in accordance with what is generally done or believed. Communicative events are therefore seen as events in which communication take place. So, anytime or anywhere we communicate, we can refer to it as a communicative events. So, for example, we are having a meeting. We can consider meeting as an example of communicative event. Okay. Communicative events are defined by an unified set of components. The communicative events are they having the following major features. First is the general topic maintained. So, if you are guesting or if you are a MC of that event or program, you should maintain the general topic. You should focus the one topic that related to the program. Second is the same participants are involved. And then third is the same rules of interaction operate in the same kind of setting. So, if you are the guest speaker, you should make the same rules that related to the setting, to the program that you made. And then fourth is the participant use the same language variety. So, if you are a participant, you should also use the same language variety of the speaker to avoid confusions to the audience or to the listeners. So, did you get my point? So, there's any clarifications or questions or confusions about my discussion today? So, don't hesitate to question me. If there's any confusions, you may ask a questions on me. Okay, if none, I think this is the end of my discussion today. I hope you have learned from my discussions and thank you for your listening.
So, good day to all of us. My name is Miko Bote, and I'm going to report the ethnography of communication. So, what is ethnography of communication? The ethnography of communication, originally called the ethnography of speaking, is the analysis of communication within the wider context of the social and cultural practices and beliefs of the members of a particular culture or speech community. The ethnography of communication is an language research which has its origin in the development of a view in anthropology that culture to a large extent is expressed through language, and of the view in linguistics that language is a system of cultural behaviors. So, what is the object of the ethnography of communication? The object of the ethnography of communication is to document and analyze communicative practices and to investigate how they fit into broader social context. Such communicative practices run the gamut from ritual invocations of ancestral spirits to idle gossip. Uh, Ethnographers of communication also examine the complexities of communication between anthropologists and the people that they study. So, example, an, uh, an ethnographer may study a village of indigenous people on an island to observe their customs outside of modern civilization. Using a translator, the ethnographer uses overt ethnography to inform them of the purpose but observes passively as to not interfere with their daily functions. The ethnographer observes their practices, such prayer rituals, the food they eat, and how they deal with conflict. So, what is the importance of ethnography of communication? The importance is that it examines the pattern of communication, the way systems of communicative events are organized, and the way in which these interact with all other cultural systems. It allows the researchers to connect linguistic forms with cultural practices. So this is the end of my part, and I hope that you understand my topic.
The key goal of ethnographers is to examine how members of a speech community interpret meaning from their experience and how they communicate such interpretations. HIMS provides a particular methodology for the study of communicative events and the units, which make them up the speaking grid. The speaking grid are composed with this meaning. The first is the setting or the scene, which is the physical circumstances. This is where they set up the scene or the setting of the event. Second thing is the participants or the speaker or the hearer. The two types of person who's really communicating needs participants, which is the speaker and the receiver, just like that. And the ends is the purpose or the goal, which is determines what is your topic is all about. The fourth thing is the A, the act sequence, a message form and the contents the topic is all about. And the letter K is the word key, which is focuses on tone, manner, spirit of encounter. So how they gonna speak up their words and how they gonna have emotions in their communications. The letter I is the instrumentalities, which is the channel or the verbal or non-verbal, spoken or written, which is what kind of instruments or channel or a medium they're gonna use of in communication. The letter N stands up for norms of interaction, which is the production and perception of language. And the letter G is the genre, the discourse of textual categories. So this speaking grids helps that provides a particular methodology for the study of communicative events and the units. The goal of ethnographers is to examine, and this speaking grid helps very well.